Is more fabrication on this 62 Willys project. We've got the 4.3 GM Ecotec3 motor getting swapped into this thing. We got to cut down the output shaft on the transmission for the Novak adapter, and then we're going to start designing our motor mounts that go from the frame up to the mounts. Stay tuned.
Built with soul, not just steel.
Okay, so according to the instructions, we need to take off 3/4 of an inch from this output shaft here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Take our ruler, we're gonna line it up right here at 3/4 of an inch. We're actually gonna do it like this. Grab some painter's tape. We'll just go around a few spots, verifying it's 3/4 of an inch. Right. And there. There. Okay. Beautiful. That can go down. Now, in theory, as long as we can get this to line perfectly straight up, come around. All right. So go to the top side, verify. Three-quarters of an inch. Bam. Yep. We're gonna make this a couple thick. Or we can kind of use it as a bump stop. All right, so we're gonna cut right up to the tape line there. Let's grab all of our cutters and our safety equipment. Oh, it's perfect. Let's check it out, guys. Ugh. Crawl back under here. Hopefully this camera doesn't flip too much. Let's see if we can sneak in past all this. Oh, come on, spin. Yeah. Look at that. Let's give me a second. I'll get you guys to the top side and show you that. Oh. Okay, here you go. Beautiful. Is officially mounted. No gaps. Looks good. So that is going to be the actual position. So now we can actually start working on engineering and designing these forward motor mounts, the rear transmission cross member. Okay, so the next step on this project is going to be getting the engine back up to where it needs to be, where it is out of our drivetrain travel for the front axle. So we'll make sure we go up high enough and we come forward where we need to come. This is going to be, then we're going to have to set our 3-degree angle, which this helps us do that. Let's get this thing between the jack back there, and this will get us left to right angles. Right about there, left to right. Okay. Now I think, if I remember right, yeah, we got to go up quite a bit. Okay, let's get that floor jack set where we need to be with the floor jack. Need to get this strap out of the way for now. All this out of the way. Okay. Try not to move this stuff too much, but it is definitely going to need to be moved. Get this floor jack centered. There we go. Up over. There we go. Now we need to move this whole thing my way as a unit. There it goes. Beautiful. Okay. Up some. Quite a bit, actually. Now we'll go back to the jack. Cherry picker. All right. I think, yeah, we want to watch this valve here on the back of the intake, so we want to make sure we're clearancing that, but we also want to make sure we are clear of our four-wheel drive. Let's push this tranny forward just a hair. Are we hitting? Not quite yet. Okay, there you go. This is the tedious part, so I'm gonna put you on time lapse, but what we're trying to do is bring this up, make sure we clearance our travel, plus get our 3 degrees of lean that we need for the driveline. So we'll speed this up. All right, you guys, I'm actually having to cut more of the floor pan out. Just getting this thing squared up again. I just can't quite get that right angle. Transmission is still hitting some of the tonneau cover on the driver's side, so we're just gonna kind of cut it in a big square shape. It'll make it a lot easier for building a tonneau cover later on. But for now, I'm in there, gonna cut this out, and then we'll get back to you guys in here to take a look, show you what we had to do. Quite a bit more cutting. So quite a bit of the floor pan has to come out. We got a nice edge here, make it a little easier to make a new cover as well. So now we got all this room. We were hitting, no matter what we did, we kept hitting over here on this knuckle of the transmission here. So now hopefully we should be able to come up where we want to again and get that angle. So that's what we're gonna do next. Start playing with the angles again. When you guys are doing something like this, it is long and tedious. I mean, it's very tedious, but just little by little, we'll always win the race. So again, we got it up. We were able to get 4.5 was the max on our degree for the rear output shaft after the transfer case, and the factory axle is at 3, so we're 1.5 degrees off. That's a little much, it will cause a vibration. So now what we're gonna do, we should be able to come back up with this engine like we originally wanted it to be a little higher. So we should be able to come back up with this engine and up with the transmission and hopefully get that 3-degree angle. And what I'm thinking we might end up doing is yanking these fenders off when we go to design the motor mounts, because it'll just give us a lot more room to take our measurements once we get the motor centered and the rear transfer case centered. Okay, you guys, we are so close. We're at 3.6 degrees. The only thing we're running into, I'm gonna try to get you guys, my light's dying. Oh, hold on, sorry. Okay, the only thing we're running into is that vent tube at the top. It is still hitting. And then that shifter linkage, I'm not sure if those move in and out. I don't think they do. I think they're just caps. So as long as nothing moves in and out past that, that will be okay. But we are at 3.6 degrees, which is within 1/2 degree basically of where this rear end sits. So we're gonna have to notch under the seat, unfortunately, for that breather tube. So we'll have to pull the whole seat out to get to that. But for now, we can actually say this is the official location of the motor. Walk you guys around. So I got nice clearance there. The transmission cooler and oil cooler lines are just gonna have to be remote mounted. They're gonna have to get rid of the steel lines and put soft lines and route them a different way, because down in here, that 4 inches of travel clears the oil filter, but it doesn't clear those tranny lines. If you see right there, So those tranny lines will have to come out and just be rerouted. That's not like a super big deal. Some soft lines will work for that. We got more than enough clearance to work on the back of the engine, get to the bell housing here. I thought about going back further, but the further back we go, the more we run into things hitting, and that radiator and stuff's gonna sit up here. So I think we have more than enough room for a radiator and a fan. So I think this is gonna be where it's gonna go. I think next what we're gonna do is yank this fender off. We're gonna balance out this motor left to right, since we know it's the height we need, and we'll start drawing up our motor mounts that go from the frame to the engine itself. So I think we're gonna land this here. As I was mentioning earlier, we got a little bit of flex in the mounts obviously, but we can always shim the transmission up or down. The rear axle, worst case scenario, the rear axle might need to be, the mounts might need to be, sorry, I'm over here. Mount needs to be cut and twisted, possibly, to make the angles line up perfectly if we run into that issue. Right now, we're only a few degrees off. The only thing I noticed, and it could be due to we know the concrete's true in here, it's set to 0. It's at a 0.020 grade, or 0.020 grade, which is nothing, but you know, tire pressures is gonna make a little bit of difference on where everything's sitting. Also, what I wanna do, I can't go up anymore because the drive line itself would hit the floor pan, and I don't wanna go down anymore because right where we're sitting is clearing that 4-inch everywhere. So if this suspension compresses all 4 inches, nothing would hit, which is exactly what we want, especially if he takes this thing off-road, if the customer goes off-roading. So we're gonna call it good here. The rear pinion is offset. Most drive lines can absorb about 2.5 inches. As long as they're at the same parallel angle, they can usually handle about 2.5 inches of discrepancy. So we're gonna make sure this is centered. Worst case, he can always change out to a rear axle that's got a center pinion instead of an offset pinion. But we're gonna figure out, hopefully with all this crushed area here, it's not too hard, but we're gonna figure out how to get these fenders out of here. We're gonna get them off, we'll lay them in the bed of the truck, and that'll give us the room we need to start taking our measurements. So real quick, I'm gonna slide underneath, make sure that transmission is in the position it needs to be. Looking here, our center dot is centered. And we don't have a lot of room because of the water pump to go that way. So I think this is gonna be beautiful. We wanna make sure that the transmission is as close to where we're gonna have it as possible right now. Centering wise, I think it should be pretty dang close already because I already took this measurement earlier, but go from this frame These frames sit at different heights as well, which is kind of weird to me, but we got 17, 15 sixteenths, and 19 and 1 16th equals 1 and 1/8. Hey, look, I'm decent at math. 1 and 1/8 difference from frame to frame. Oh, let me grab the measuring tape and go down and look at how far off we are from this frame. Oh, I know you guys can't really see much, but just bear with me. I'll talk you through it. Okay. All right. So we are going to use, they look, we'll try to get the frame here. Frame, from the edge of the frame down is 21 inches on the dot. Let's see where this one goes. This one is about 27 and a half. Yeah, he's gonna have to just, we're gonna set our pinion angle at right here at 3 degrees. He's gonna have to change this rear axle for sure. That is, if center line is true with that upper frame, he's 6 inches offset, which obviously the old transfer case would have been that way. So we're gonna set this thing at definitely gonna have to have a different axle. That axle's offset is way too much. So standard is about 3 degrees, 4 degrees. So we're gonna leave this right where it's at because this is like perfect for clearance wise. I think as long as the drive line comes down, yeah, that should be good. So, yep. And then we are going to, we're only 1 1/8 inches off. So we need to move this whole unit over 1 1/8 inches. I'm going to lower it down for now, just a hair. The reason I'm getting this centered, you guys, is because there's a lot more centered axles out there, for one, but also for motor mount purposes. Oh, now this is hitting that cap. We need to go forward some. Okay. Whoa. All right. Let's see where we are. We're at 19 and 3/16. Yeah, that is pretty much dead on the money right there. 18 and a half. Still needs to go this way. Okay. Right there. All right. And then again, sorry guys, this takes forever. Right there. It looks like center. We're gonna call it. we can make up 1/16 if we have to. Whew. Man. That'll take the wind out of you. Okay. All right, so next what we're gonna do, I need to remember, I forget what the circumference is of these mounts, so we're gonna mic those out real quick, write those down. .51 millimeters and or basically 2.009 inches. So 2-inch diameter, 2-inch, 51.02. Okay, so we know that. So what we're gonna do, we need to get the measurement, the width of our frame. All right, about straight parallel. .3 millimeters. 108.3. Oh, drop the pen. And on this side, should in theory be the same, but I'm gonna double check. Straight across. Yep, 108.7. So 108.7. So if we go to 109, that'll give us the room we need on both. 109 millimeters, okay. Now, the fun part is trying to figure out how far we need to be to get all the way over to the opposite side. And we can just add the, we know the diameter is 2 inches. Okay, there we go. From straight edge to here, it's going to be exactly 4 5/8 inches. So 4 5/8 inches. 4 5/8 inches. Now we got to see what our straight across is. Actually, it's going to be slightly different from each side. So these are just jotting down notes. The more measurements you take, the more accurate it is when you're creating it in CAD. 4 5/8 inches on passenger side. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to see how far that mount is from the straight edge. So, basically, 16 millimeters, roughly. How thick is this? About 1 millimeter thick. So, let's do this. Let's try to put some of this out of our way for now. There we go. I'm just going to take a gander and say that's about a 10. It's about 10 millimeters there. This one should be about 16. 10 and 16. I think what we're going to do, that's going to be as close as we can get it. 10 and 16, 10 and 16. Okay, so what we're going to do, we need to cut out for this brake line as well, which is about, we'll just notch both brackets. So we're going to write down these measurements one more time. And then another measurement we want is the distance here. I want it to wrap around the frame. So basically 2 inches. Okay, I got some rudimentary drawings going on, but it's what I need. Now we got to do the same thing to the other side real quick. Then we'll start to design this in CAD. All right, you guys, we got a plan of action. Very rudimentary drawings, but with lots and lots of measurements. This is going to be for multiple brackets. The frame, not only on this side, the frame goes up, on that side, the frame goes, sorry, they both go up, but that side it goes up quite a bit more, and because it's also closer, but also the distance from this side for center is 4 5/8. Distance on that side is about 3 7/8. So we're gonna draw this up on CAD on this video.
Okay, we're using Fusion 360 as our software. Here is one of the brackets with the cutout for the brake line. As you can see, quite a bit of math and angles go into these. When you're dealing with three-dimensional space, the more measurements you have, the better. And I'll just kind of run through to show how all four are slightly different than one another. Each one of these are, I'm going to click on the bodies here. I don't know why when I do screen record, it doesn't show my dialog pop-up boxes, so you can't see what I'm actually selecting here, but I'm going to select bodies and overlay them one by one to kind of give a better detailed description of what they look like. So with this vehicle, the frame is higher at the front and lower towards the rear, plus you have the 3-degree angle roughly that you're setting the engine at. So now here is each bracket, what it looks like in three-dimensional space. And just run through each one of these real quick for you guys to show what we came up with in our design. As you can see, this is the driver's side. It doesn't have that notch for the brake line because the brake line isn't in the same spot.
You guys just saw us kind of draw these up on CAD. We got to cut them out. We'll bring that on the next video. We'll cut them out. We'll get them mounted. Hopefully get this engine sitting in this thing, at least on the motor side without any straps. Then we'll work on a transmission mount from that point forward. But for now, this is JP Street and Performance, where dream cars are built, not bought. From the first cut to the final pass, we'll catch you guys on the next project.